A bombshell about President Trump's taxes proving to be a little bit of a dud. Rachel Maddow getting all wound up and hyping the big reveal.
You may have heard, we've got some significant breaking news tonight. Donald Trump's tax returns have surfaced, at least a portion of Donald Trump's past tax returns.
Well, actually, it was 2 pages from 2005 showing that Mr. Trump paid a tax rate of about 25%, which was a higher percent than President Obama paid in 2015, even the Washington Post calling it a nothing burger. Joining me now is an expert on getting the audience very excited.
Wait until you hear
Fox
this.
News correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera.
Stand by, this is shocking.
Yes. Everyone on Twitter, including myself, was doing jokes about Al Capone's vault.
Right, the empty vault.
I think that for anyone who doesn't remember, I think we have the video and we can play it for you when you famously opened up Al Capone's vault. I loved it. I remember the very night I snuck out of bed. I watched it on the TV. Other people were more critical.
Well, the world was watching. We found the gangster's vault in the old Hotel Lexington in south side of Chicago. We thought it had bodies in it, guns, gold, cash. It turned out I had an empty Gilby's gin bottle and a 1926 stop sign.
What did that feel like, by the way?
Well, I knew the whole world was watching. It was my first big independent production following 15 years at ABC News. I knew that everybody had tuned in, and I wanted to bury myself in the hole when I found nothing. But I tell you what I did find was ratings, and I think Rachel Maddow also will discover the ratings inside the empty vault. Yeah. But I think that because she made fun of me when I said that maybe I had some Trump tapes during that whole Access Hollywood thing, and then I did not deliver, she made fun of me and said it was Al Capone's vault all over again. I submit to you that Rachel Maddow now has the mantle of the Al Capone vault.
One very big difference, though, from a production standard is you didn't know what was inside the vault. Well, she was doing all that hyping. She knew what was in the tax returns, and so she knew as she's hyping that she wasn't really revealing anything. I mean, he paid $38 million in taxes. If you look at his effective tax rate, at 25.3%, he was paying a higher rate than President Obama, 18.7%. Comcast, by the way, the big corporation that backs Rachel Maddow, paid a tax rate of 24%. Even Bernie Sanders, 13.5%. What did you think of what was inside her vault? Meaningful, not meaningful?
Well, I thought it was very meaningful. I thought that, first of all, that President Trump should get a new tax attorney because he's paying twice the rate Mitt Romney paid.
That's a great point.
It was so favorable to the president that I thought for a second that maybe he planted it.
I know.
You know, that Rachel Maddow would do this big reveal. I think, by the way, that's why she was so tentative in her delivery just there, because she knew that the bottom line was it belied every notion that MSNBC has been promulgating that Trump is a tax dodger. That's why he hasn't released his tax returns.
Or that he's not rich. I mean, that's the other.
Or that he's not rich.
Now, for the record, the Trump administration has said it's ridiculous that they were behind this, because a lot of people have speculated, like you said, that maybe it turned out so well for him and it was so embarrassing for MSNBC, who he's called fake news, that maybe he was behind it. He says that's absolutely not true. But it did end up on a PR front being a very good night for him. Do you think for you, I mean, you got blockbuster ratings out of the vault. There was a happy ending to that story, obviously. I mean, your career boomed.
I was the most famous unemployed person in America. That's why I took that job to open Al Capone's vaults, thinking that it would resurrect my career. I found nothing, but I had 22 job offers the next day. So who knows what happens to Rachel Maddow. But I think that MSNBC is doing its job. Rachel Maddow is a fine broadcaster, but there is no doubt but that this ricocheted, that this favored Donald Trump. It took the, you know, the Obamacare debate off the front pages for a while. You know, the whole Russian hacking business also was, at least for the day, put to the side. And listen, I would love to be in a situation where I paid $38 million in income taxes.
Me too. Yeah. You mentioned the hacking. I want to take you to the other big story of the day. The first ever criminal case brought against Russian government officials. What's your reaction to that? Because, I mean, we're talking about deja vu here, and now it feels like every story is about Russia and our relationship with Russia and things getting more tense again, without question.
Although people may be getting sick of Russia, this is a landmark story. Why? Because, according to the Department of Justice, This is a case of state-sponsored hacking. The Yahoo and the breach of privacy, a billion people, was done in part by officials of the Russian government. That's a big deal. If they would do that, what else are they doing? What else are they hacking? I think it fuels the whole effort by Lindsey Graham and the others to probe into exactly the nuts and bolts of what Russia did and to whom did they do it. I think that Senator Graham's on the right track, finding out whether or not there is a FISA court, a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court warrant, because if there is a warrant, then there is probable cause of something. I think that this Yahoo story now with this indictment, which means by definition there's probable cause that this crime was committed, I think this opens up a whole can of worms. We will, I think, to our distress, find out how these neo-commies have been infiltrating our government.
Isn't it amazing
and our businesses.
That when Mitt Romney said that he thought Russia was such a great threat on the foreign policy arena, that President Obama said the 80s called and they want their foreign policy back, and here we are. He ended up being right.
It just shows how he was the president, so smug, so smart, but in a way so naive. And he was wrong on Russia and wrong on the Middle East.
Geraldo Rivera, thank you for coming
on.
I appreciate it. I'm a huge fan.